Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. To welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startup, where Nicola and we dissect the latest news happening in Italy in startup land. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Jack. Ciao, everybody.
All right, so last week, big protagonism from CDP Venture Capital. Actually, what we saw is two deals invested. Gyala first, a cybersecurity startup, and then Macingo, a shipping marketplace, both being invested by CDP from two different funds, and then we can go in the details about it. But on top of that, also the announcement of a new space fund, which I will be super interested to see what you think about it. But let's go in order, maybe.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning, I would say. Gyala?
Let's start from Gyala, absolutely. So Gyala raising 5 million euro, and basically the round is led by CDP Venture Capital Evolution Fund. And maybe we can talk about what is the value proposition of Gyala, and then focus on the Evolution Fund, which is both two interesting topics.
So from the article, citing from the article, so Gyala is a cybersecurity startup, basically a cyber defense, applying artificial intelligence, machine learning in order to find out and automatically stop unusual behaviors in the company. So let's say surveillance and automatic actions, cybersecurity startups that I've been told it's a hot topic right now. So interesting value proposition. I would say also the team is interesting. I was briefly reading the profiles. The veterans from the industry. One of the founders, I believe, is from the military.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, from with defense background. So that's interesting. Usually this happens in the Israeli cybersecurity startups.
Good point. Yeah,
they have a very strong background from the military. So interesting point, this one. And about the investors, I see, and we can see that Azimuth is as always present.
Exactly, omnipresent.
Yeah. Omnipresent, always there, operating on the deals, and the round is led by the Evolution Fund. Mm-hmm. And within CDP, the Evolution Fund is the deep tech fund. It's the one investing in more advanced type of companies and startups. It's not a small fund. I think 150 million euros.
Exactly, totally, and it's about 100 million euros with a 200 million target. Right now, Evolution Fund has about 5 companies in portfolio, and it's deep tech, is Series A and B, so it's kind of a little bit later than the classic seed, and they have a funding target between 2 million and 20 million. And that's super interesting because it's extremely specific. Actually, it's a deep tech oriented. I believe it's it's one of the most technical fund probably. I would say with one of the biggest team. I think there are about 8 people working on the fund, so that's not bad at all.
So good. And from the startup investing, you can see that deep tech is that in their case has quite a broad scope, ranging from digital to cybersec to energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Energy dome.
So that ranges cybersecurity, biotech, medtech, new materials, and quantum computing. Really broad, anything deep that is touched by deep tech. That's where we're going to see something happening from the Evolution Fund. So super interesting. So what is interesting, what I find particularly interesting, is that going back to Gyala, that's also in terms of product, I think they're using a very advanced virus detection heuristic, which also I think for the listener is a good key term to know. in terms of cybersecurity startup, because there are a lot of processes, a lot of elements, and that's something that definitely caught my eye. So basically, they started by, in terms of product, by endpoint detection and response by using AI, and then from there, basically, they proliferate to different like modules. And yeah, definitely an advanced deal. So that's super interesting for sure.
Indeed. Nice.
Yeah. Moving on to the second deal from CDP. So this time CDP is investing about, well, the total raise was about 2.1 million. The round was led by CDP Venture Capital with Fondo Sud, which is the fund that is mostly focused on supporting central and southern Italian companies. Again, a very active fund. And they're basically supporting Macingo, which is a shipping marketplace. Again, a very, very interesting concept. So this is a startup from Calabria, the southern region of Italy. And yeah, apparently they're growing extremely fast with about, I would say, I think they just went over the 1 million client. So it's definitely something that is moving extremely fast, and the CDP fund is supporting them.
Yep. Not much to add here. So the startup is from Calabria, one of the regions from the south. They've been around for a while. Basically raising smaller amounts of capital and bootstrapping mostly. But interesting proposition and interesting grounds to start scaling the operations. I mean, this is an interesting time for transportation. I mean, the pandemics have somehow broken previous ways of moving stuff around. So that's an interesting round. Interesting to see how it proceeds from here.
And the idea of Macingo is pretty cool also. So basically they're trying to simplify transporter. In Italy, we have a bunch of small, medium-sized people basically moving shipments around from cars to motorcycle to bigger shipments. And what they're trying to do is basically conglomerate all this data to give people the best quote. So I thought it was particularly interesting. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Let's talk about maybe the South Fund, which I thought it was interesting. So basically, the investment is done through, in specific, Italy Venture 2 Fund, which is Fondo Sud. Again, small and medium enterprise mostly. 150 million euros subscribed capital, and already a very, very active fund, a portfolio of about 56 companies. So not bad at all. Actually, what is interesting is also they invest in VC funds. So it's 53 companies, but also they invested in 2 VC funds. That's particularly interesting, I would say.
Yep. They have an important allocation and a difficult mission, because they focus on southern Italy that we know have several complications in terms of ecosystem and maturity. The economy at large in particular. So they're doing excellent work at sustaining all the stars from the south. You see, 56 is a big number. They could invest a lot, actually.
Yeah. Very active. That's probably one of the first that started actually deploying, I would say. I mean, or I don't remember, but it seems like it was one of the first.
This was one of the 2 funds inherited by Italia. So the previous incarnation of CDP Venture Capital, where we only had Italian Venture 1 and Italian Venture 2. Italian Venture 2 is this one focused on the startups from southern Italy. And
a pretty broad spectrum of vertical: agri-tech, biotech, healthcare, digital, IoT, artificial intelligence, robotics, and mechatronic. So that's a very wide range of companies, I would say. Super interesting. All right. Actually, let's talk about the next rounds, and then we go back to CDP and let's keep talking about the rounds. I would, one deal that you mentioned is Connectly, which is a Delaware-based startup, basically working on WhatsApp marketing platform and automation. So it's a marketing play. Very, very interesting for sure in terms of product. And that's one of the investment from YAG, Italian Angel for Growth. And it was interesting because this shows that actually Italian early stage investors are looking abroad. And we are seeing more and more companies invested also beyond the ocean. So not only Israel and France and Spain, but also directly into US or specific deals outside Europe, I would say.
Yeah, I have to say that YAG is actually expanding the scope structurally. This is not the first investment they do abroad. And they just announced another one. So there's been a switch of strategy lately in YAG, I would say.
Interesting.
Yep, and they're expanding their focus area of investments. So that's an interesting pivot, let's say.
Yeah. So. And from what I understand, they also are activated what they call the hot deals, which are deals which are particularly promising, I would say, maybe not necessarily Italian or European in general, probably, but maybe they're gonna have like some specific entry points, some specific allocation. I would be curious to see what are the deal terms, but it's a nice way to actually maybe give different tiers of investment categories for the members of YAG. So that's a cool and interesting way of thinking about it.
Well, I have to say that when you think about investing in the United States or UK or let's say faster geographies, the need to wait for some kind of structured process might put you out of the deal.
Yeah.
So I can see where I can see the fact that if you want to invest in the United States at the pre-seed or seed stage, you need to move fast. So a way to label a fast track process within YAG in order to be able to enter into these deals, and it makes total sense.
Not totally.
Otherwise, you're out.
Very competitive, very fast. I agree with you. It's probably they're giving them like a fast track so that people can allocate quickly and smoothly without the European timing, but aligning with what is happening in the US. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. Curious to see what's going to happen as the next deals. So that's we're going to keep an eye on the hot deals from YAG. That's definitely interesting. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Giants and MusicMatch, which is a giant PE firm, actually a small part of the giant PE firm, TPG. Of course, San Francisco based, but really like a global firm, about $120 billion under investment, has completed a significant investment in MusicMatch, which is a music data platform based in Italy. So MusicMatch has been around quite some time, I would say. It's one of the big, the long-lasting companies of Italy. They're basically working on data related to music, including lyrics, and they're also trying to basically adding some other elements to the business model. I was reading about how they want to add also royalties and royalties management. So they're really trying a lot of things in the music industry. And awesome closing, a great business partner for sure. I was checking their portfolio. The company is huge. It's TPG. I'm sure it's insanely helpful in introducing a lot of great resources.
Yeah, let me put down a couple of numbers. The first one is 2010, the year when MusicMatch was founded. And the other number is $120 billion of assets under management. That's TPG. We are all. Everybody is a little bit sad that they didn't disclose the amount of the investment. Everybody I spoke to is sad about that, because it's not every day that is TPG, investing in an Italian company. I have to say, MusixMatch has been working quite a bit below the radar in terms of the Italian ecosystem. They've been executing a lot on the market, on international markets. But still, we are very sad about not knowing what's going on. From other articles, it appears that all the shareholders, the existing shareholders, remained on board after the investment. So probably there's some primary, maybe there's been some secondary, but there's something going on here. I expect in the close to mid future, we'll see what's going to happen to MusixMatch.
Yeah.
Whether a sale or an IPO, I don't know.
Yeah. So what I thought particularly interesting was the structure of TPG, just to maybe get into the company, the investment firm. So basically, yeah, it's an asset management firm. And what is interesting is that they work and they think in terms of platforms. And I thought it was a very interesting approach. So they do classic private equity deals through 3 different branches. They have a growth platform, which again is about like, I think 5 to 7 funds. I was checking the balance sheets and the financial statements. And I believe that MusixMatch was invested by the TPG Growth, if I'm not mistaken. And in the growth part, we also have huge names like I believe Airbnb and some big portfolio companies that have been shaping basically the ecosystem. Calm, for example, a lot of like interesting deals. Not only startups, actually, not only digital. Like I can see Crunch, which is basically a gym membership, kind of more brick and mortar kind of deal. Huge, definitely chain. But yeah, I thought it was particularly interesting. Other platforms are focused on impact investing, again with 3 funds, more or less. Real estate, so we're really covering the whole spectrum of alternative investments. And then, what they call market solution, which really includes a lot of different elements. So probably maybe different, more opportunistic way of looking into the market. So yeah, including SPACs, and definitely like something around the public markets also. Yeah, so this is like crossing between private alternatives and the high risky public market, I would say. So very interesting company. And my feel is that MusixMatch is the first Italian they invest in. So I didn't check properly, so don't quote me on that. But it looks like interesting. Definitely something interesting. They saw something.
Yep.
So that's good. All right. Moving on. Let's go back to CDP Venture Capital. Basically announcing the Italian Space Venture fund with a target of 250 million euro as a raise. And reading the report, the press release, basically they were saying that they're going to be focused both on direct investment and on fund investment. So good news for you guys, I would say. I don't know up to which point, but as a co-investor or as LPs, that can be something interesting.
I would say, of course, it's good to have more fresh capital on the market. As you said, the fund has a target of 250 million. From the article, 90 million are coming from a fund associated to the PNRR, the master plan, European master plan for helps after the COVID pandemic. CDP is putting down another 90 million, and the remaining is going to be found from other investors. And of course, the Italian Space Agency and the European Space Agency are supporting the fund with experts and advisory. Mm-hmm. And that's great. because as you know, we've got Primo Space, and we probably have one of the first space funds in Europe. And what we know for sure is that you need capital to scale space startups. So it's very good to have more investors currently joining the table. So that's good news for now. We'll see how then it goes, and how actually the fund will be able to deploy capital. So there have been different rumors going around whether it will all be co-investing or it will be leading investments or not. So that's something that's still unclear to me, at least. But all in all, is very good news for the ecosystem. Remember that Italy is one of the strongest countries with respect to space in the world, actually, not just in Europe. So that's good that we have capital focused on our country investing in the space economy.
Interesting.
That's part of the future.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And for the listener, I really encourage to actually look into the space economy and how it's evolving, because there are so many non-obvious application of business opportunity which are literally insane. So it's not just building rockets as one might think, but it's actually a lot of things, starting from usage of data from satellite through algorithms for agriculture up to fuel, nano satellites. I mean, yes, it's
materials. That's everything.
It's insane. It's insane, and that's definitely a sector to keep an eye on for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, let's conclude with two shout outs. One to the guys from I would say from Ask Data. So the two founders basically that exited to SAP. So basically they sold the company. And it's a great example of how like two founders basically started a company in Italy around Rome. They were accelerated basically in the local ecosystem, and then they entered Y Combinator. So they really benefit from the network, and I believe they met SAP through Y Combinator. So that's a very good case of Italian founder finding like a great outcome in terms of exit. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And of course, the second shout out to our friend Andrea Orlando about his article, which is always fascinating. Andrea is a great speaker and a very sharp thinker, I would say. Someone that really has explored the European ecosystem, I would say, since the early days. So it's always interesting to read what he has to do. And in this article that you mentioned in your newsletter, it's basically giving an overview on how early stage is moving, late stage is moving, and how some complications in Italy are still slowing down the ecosystem. Again and again, we keep talking about the pain points of Italy, and we know which one they are. So, but that's an interesting read for sure.
I have to say that Andrea always speaks his mind, and from his position, he's seeing in this specific case a lack of capital, so not enough seed funds operating in Italy. And he has a point. We've been talking about it, no? Mm-hmm. We've been, running the numbers. CDP is launching, like, we have 14, 15 accelerators.
I think 15.
Yeah, the number 15, and 15 accelerators churning out. These 10 startups per year per accelerator. Is 150 startups that are looking for seed capital. There are not enough funds. Yeah. That's basic enough.
Totally.
So we need either local or better still international operators that come to Italy and take a look at what's going on. If there are good champions, good startups, they deserve to find the capital and funding.
Totally.
So he's got a point.
He's got a good point. Solid point. All right, Nick, thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you at the next session.
Yep, Jack, thank you very much for hosting as usual. See you everybody next week or soon.
Bye.